Yeah, Minaj, are you there? So yeah, without wasting our time. So yeah, Gurpreet, shall we start this Kubernetes cluster setup?
Yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, let me just click on launch instance. Yeah, just mute yourself if you are not talking. All, and let me click Ubuntu 20. Right, I will take T2 medium. Kubernetes cluster needed a huge server, and choose the key pair. Select the security group. So I just created one cluster. Let us set up. Let me name this as master. Just let me click on connect, copy. So you need to go inside the folder where your PEM file is located. My PEM file is located in Terraform folder. Git bash here. Yes. So I'm inside the Ubuntu server. Now let me go as a root user. Now let me install Docker first. Sudo apt update. Right. I'm just following the documentation. So as we discussed, Kubernetes less than 1.23. Docker is more than enough. But if you are working on the version greater than 1.23, you need to install Docker D as well. Then only Kubernetes is going to support the containerization. So then after you need to
What
install,
is greater than 1.2? Is that version?
yes, Kubernetes version. Right now, if you see Kubernetes release date 1.27 version, the latest version of Kubernetes is 1.27. So yeah, if you search Kubernetes, so the latest released version was 1.27.3 Kubernetes. That is on 14th June 2023. Right, and sudo usermon fnh docker ubuntu. Just exit, relogin. Let me execute docker info. Right, I'm getting client server both. So that means Docker was installed successfully. After that, I need to install this cryo docker D. So just copy. So it will take time. Then after you need to create a bin folder. Yeah, Guru Prasad, like we need to install as a DevOps engineer, or everything will be set up if we join a company.
But depends on the project. Here, what will happen for our project? Mean it was already installed. Even we have a doc to install.
Okay.
It is from the scratch. I think that is why we have to install everything.
Right now we are doing for our own self, right? We are learning, so
Yes, that is why. Yeah, that is why.
yeah. I'm just normally like asking whether in reality how it will be there. So during this go build, it will take little bit of time. We need to just maintain some patience. So then after this one, so it will show permission denied because you need to. I just forget. I'm just executing a normal user, but you need to execute all this thing as a root user. So now let me. I need to add sudo on every command. But while you are doing, don't use Ubuntu user. Try to go as a root user.
But Mr. Guru, are we using a sudo command in real time in Linux?
No, no, no. We won't use.
So what were you using?
Like
User.
they will give some permissions to our user.
They'll create a user, right, for us, and they will
Yes,
give some
yes.
permission, right?
Yeah. Even user also they will create. We have to log in using our Active Directory ID. We will get the username, right? Like our email ID.
Uh-huh.
With that only we will be having.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, then after you need to install.
You
So
know, Pawan, this is where we are caught by the interviewer, because we will say we will do sudo this, and actually we are not using sudo in real time, and they catch us. He's lying. It didn't work actually.
no,
It's
no,
not.
like
It's
this
not
is
like that. It depends.
yeah. By simply silly things, no, like no one going to
It's
see.
not like depends on project and depends on the requirement.
Hi Pawan, I'm sorry I'm late. I had to
Okay, okay.
come to something. Okay, so what are we doing now?
Yeah, we are just setting up the Kubernetes
Environment.
cluster. So let us complete this. Then after we can discuss more on. Yeah, Guru Prasad, is it fine? Or we are like taking your too much of time?
No, no, nothing.
Yeah, I will continuously go on installing, but you, please share your experience, Guru Prasad. Like you have attended interview, right? What are the questions you have faced?
No, we will. I think Pawan, we will see. We won't be able to concentrate what is happening here if that's the case.
Okay, then
So
no
two
problem.
two ways we will be split. It nowhere will benefit. That's why.
Okay,
And
sure. So after installing this kubectl kubectl kubelet, I got collected the steps. If you go there,
Okay.
I have collected the steps from here. From here I collected and just added. If you see apt update, app install, deb,
Hmm.
curl. So
Hmm.
same thing I've added here for your comfortability. So you no need to go the official documentation. But I followed the official documentation. Then after you need to click on this next. What next? Then he is telling you need to execute kubeadium init. So
Hmm.
same thing as a root
So
user.
kubeadium init will actually make that particular node as an administrator node.
Yes. So if you see whenever I execute the kubeadium init,
Hmm.
you need to use cryo socket. What is that cryo socket? Let me open my notepad plus plus. So yeah, Minaj, like whatever Guru Prasad said, right? I just written these points. I will update this in the classroom notes. Like what are
Okay.
the day-to-day activities he is going to do, everything I just noted.
Okay. We'll go through this after this class. If, right? If that's fine.
Okay.
This is this morning session, right? I was not there.
Yeah.
Okay. So after it is done, we will go through that notes also once because since Guru Prasad is present.
Guru,
Prasad.
yeah, Guru is fine. Yeah,
Guru
Guru.
is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So I cannot able to find that command. Let me Google it. Why it is throwing an that error? You need to pass that cryo docker because we have installed docker D, right?
Is using no use dash dash cry dot socket first
Yeah,
line
he is
only.
expecting like this. You need to
Uh,
pass kubeadium init. Let me store
Quad network
this.
CIDR.
Let
Yeah.
me store this here. Now
No,
let
one
me.
second. One second. One second. Go back to that. No. How do you get this 10.2 dot? You are running this, right? We don't know this. 10.2
Yeah, it's
244
a
dot 0 dot
CIDR
0.
range for your pods. Whenever create your pod, right? You if you want to define some CIDR ranges, you can define whatever pod you will
Okay.
create. It
Okay.
will create in the CIDR range.
Can we change that CIDR?
Yes, you can change. You can give 192.168 dot.
0 dot
Yeah.
0 dot 0 maybe.
So yeah, sometimes this Kubernetes cluster setup was fail, but yeah, during my practice, I got two hell lot of mistakes during this cluster setup.
Okay.
Not now, during my
Initially,
initial
beginning
days.
learning this.
So you need to, if you see, to
One
start
second.
using your cluster, you need to run the following as a regular user. So I came
Yeah.
back to the Ubuntu user.
Hmm.
I'm just copy pasting this command. So it is not nothing but it is telling us to create a .cube folder. So whenever you execute any command, it will go
Yeah.
through the configuration of .cube folder. Through that,
Okay.
you will execute
One.
commands.
Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second, Prasanna. Yeah. I'll be just right back.
So okay, after that, you need to deploy a pod network. As I said, right now I have kept a headset to my laptop, and there is a audio driver to my laptop. That's the reason my audio is working. In the same way for Kubernetes cluster also, it should
Oh
need
yeah, I'm
some
back.
driver so that it
Oh,
can work.
what is that? Can you repeat, please? Copy
Yeah,
CPU.
like now we got a Kubernetes cluster.
Hmm.
Cluster was working fine, but Kubernetes cluster is not getting any internet network. In order to
Okay.
get network, it should need some drivers. So
Okay.
there are companies who providing these drivers. One there is complete called as Flannel. There is a complete called as ViewNet. So there will be multiple who are providing this. You can use anything. So if you see here, you need to just apply. So install Flannel. So if you do this, then only Let me show you kubectl. Let me execute get nodes. So if you say control panel not ready, status not ready, because there is no network. In order to get that network, you need to apply this. Nothing but you need to create. So in the background, if you see, it will create the dependencies required for the network. Now execute kubectl get nodes. Now that status will goes to ready state. It will take some time, but status will go to ready state. So now let me copy this. It is very important join token. Using this join token, you need to add the nodes to your cluster. Here also you need to pass this cryo socket. So day by day installation was becoming very complicated. In the beginning, installation was very simple. So if you see, now status was converted to ready state.
Yeah.
So the master part was done. Then after what I need to do, I need to install Docker and cryo Docker in node as well. Node nothing but it's a worker node for this master. So now let me go and create one more server and let me call it as a node. But if you are creating EKS cluster, master will be managed by AWS. Nodes will be under our control. But if you are doing manually, everything will be under your control.
Repeat that one more time.
Right now we are doing the setup of our on our own. Master and nodes will be under our control. But
Okay.
if you are using the service of AWS, that is EKS cluster,
Hmm.
master will be control of AWS.
Master will be under control for
Yeah, under the
of
control of
AWS.
AWS, and nodes
Hmm.
will be under the control of ourselves. We will manage that nodes. If
So in
something,
previous scenario, how are we? How did we say that we are controlling the master also? In which scenario is that?
because we set up manually, right now I just know I set up the master. Server is under my
Hmm.
control, right?
Hmm. Oh, if you use AWS service,
Yeah.
then master will not be under our control.
Yes, master is not visible. Only if you enter kubectl get nodes, only nodes will be visible. Master will be
Hmm.
under behind, which AWS will manage.
This is one thing I wanted to know because I created a EKS cluster inside the in in AWS,
Okay.
like assign the roles and those kind of things. We gave it name as my cluster.
Now let me click on connect. Let me log in inside this server. So same thing. App update. You need to install Docker. You need to install CryoDocker. You need to install kubectl. Sudo app install. People got stuck here. They will try to install this cluster. They cannot able to do that. Docker.io is already the newest version. So I was just logging into the same server. Did I log into the node or master? So after the cluster setup only we are going to work, right? But some people will fail during cluster setup and they will just keep aside. They will stop practicing. Like too much of dedication needed in order to like work in DevOps. Right? Same steps you need to follow. Exit, relogin, Docker info, installed. Then after, now we need to install this cryo-docker. Yeah, Minaj, you got right why we are installing cryo-docker, because less than Kubernetes 1.23, if you install Docker, that is more than enough. Your Kubernetes cluster will work perfectly. But greater than 1.23 version, it should need Docker as well as cryo-docker. Then only your pod going to work. That's the reason we need to install this cryo-docker. So try to practice this, like at least try to set up this Kubernetes cluster on your own, and you can tell in the interview, I have done the setup of Kubernetes cluster. I got an opportunity to set up a, you can just tell that I have set up a UAT environment. Under that UAT environment, I have created a Kubernetes cluster. You can tell that like that in the interviews, UAT or test. So yeah, from here it will got stuck in between. What you do, just execute Control C and enter again. Or just wait for 2 minutes. So yeah, just wait for 2 minutes, then execute Control C, then after again execute that command, then it will work. Then after this command, right now we have executed under Ubuntu user. I forget it again. You need to execute this as a root user. So if you see inside in the beginning, run these commands as root. I again forget.
We can rerun again all those commands.
So yeah, I don't want to waste, so I just adding sudo in front of it. So then after you need to install this kubelet. So now let me go as a root user, it will be better. This cluster setup also you need to execute as a root user. Yeah, Guru, do you know Kubernetes? Did you get a chance to work on Kubernetes?
Guru has left, I guess. So
Okay,
problem.
okay. So whatever the join token we got, right? You need to collect that, you need to copy that, and you need to execute that here. So if you see, you need to execute kubectl get nodes on the control plane. Control plane nothing but master. So whenever you copy that token, right? After that, try to add cryo socket and the URL. I will update in the nodes. Let me add now itself. If not, I will forget. So you need to don't use my token. Okay, install Docker on the node as a root user. Join command. So need to pass cryo socket. I have added already. For just example, let me add here. So don't copy my join token. It will not work out. So after token, you need to enter cryo socket. So during join also you need to give this. Let me copy from here. Right, this one. Try to give this. Where Qvidium in it. Okay. Commit. Now let me exit. Let me log in into my master server. So now you no need to log in again to this server. You can forget. So right now we are going to work on total everything on master. kubectl get nodes. Right? Control plane is a master and it's a node. kubectl API resources. If you don't know about Kubernetes, so these are the API resources you can able to create in Kubernetes. Yeah, Arshad, I hope you know, right, Kubernetes, about Kubernetes.
I have studied about it a while ago. I have to revise once more
Okay,
because
okay,
we are reading one tool and forgetting another. That is why. So
okay,
I have also make some small project also on Kubernetes, but a while ago I have to revise it once more.
okay. Yeah, try to prepare that.
Yes, yes, for sure.
So that's it. Like this, you need to create the cluster. After that, You can write your manifest files and you can apply. At least now you need to know at least how to create a cluster, and you can tell in the interview as well, as I'm working on some companies, as you kept any experience on that company, tell that I got an opportunity in that company to create a Kubernetes cluster. So I've done from scratch. Then he might ask you how you have set up, what are the steps you have followed. Then you need to explain the same things. You need to explain that I gone through the official documentation of Kubernetes. There I find some commands. So yeah, and he might ask like how you have it set up. Can you explain me step by step? You can tell, yeah, I started with Docker, and then after I've installed CryoDockerd. Then I've installed kubeadm, kubelet, kubectl. Like that, I've done setup of Kubernetes. So yeah, that's it. This is the simple basic Kubernetes cluster. If you see what are the pods available, kubectl get pod, no resources found in the default namespace, right? Kubectl get ns. Namespace is nothing but a virtual, like you can tell, if you want to divide Kubernetes cluster into parts, you can create the different namespace. Some companies will create their own namespaces. Right now I'm working on a project where whatever they create the pods, right? kubectl get pods. So for suppose if there is application, if they want to create a pod for that application, they use it to create a namespace for that. kubectl create namespace. Just imagine it's a spc demo app. Okay, sorry, there is a typo. kubectl again typo, sorry, right? Namespace spc demo created. kubectl get pods. So let me enter kubectl get pods -n under the namespace spc demo. I want to see how many pods are available, right? There is no resources. So whenever you create any pod, in some companies they use it to create their own namespaces. Inside that namespaces they use it to create a pods. Now let me get pods -n kube system, right? So kube system will be under the Kubernetes master. So if you see scheduler, kube proxy, kube controller manager, these are the components of master. API server, etcd. So how it is running inside the Kubernetes cluster, how kube scheduler is running, how kube proxy is running, how control manager is running. At the end they are running as a pod itself, but it is by default created by Kubernetes. So these parts will be discussed during Kubernetes part in depth, but right now the focus will be on the project. So yeah, Naveen, Raj, if you feel it a little bit confusing, so just wait for some more days. We are going to learn it from scratch.
Yeah. Okay.
So how it is? Is it confusing to you? Or
Little bit.
okay, okay. Yeah, I know, I can understand that. But at the end, you are going to work on Kubernetes itself. But first, you need to learn Docker. Then only you will understand. Inside the Kubernetes, you are going to run container inside the pod. So yeah, that's it for today. Let me go to instances. I will delete this. Already I've created a cluster and just click stop state. I will just terminate this. So after creating the cluster, you can do anything. Right now, this is more than enough for today. Yeah, Minaj, now you can ask any doubts.
Yeah, I mean, doubts as such, meaning, yeah, Kubernetes, of course, we not. I mean, I have very generic idea about it. I'll slowly start drilling down into it. Um, Monday. We are starting Docker, right?
Yes.
If you
What
can,
time?
Sorry.
What time should we starting the Docker on Monday?
Yeah, it's not for you, Arshad. It's for the people who enrolled for DevOps.
Okay, okay, no problem.
So yeah, we need to like discuss on some more things as I said, as I promised, we are going to discuss on every tool on one like on one day, right? So that means I will cover all like whatever required. So for that, apart from morning, we need to have a session on separate session in the on the evening, like which time you are comfortable, you and Sharat, in the evening, so that we can plan on every tool one day. I will go deep dive on every tool. At least I am planning to, if I want to cover complete Kubernetes, I need at least 3 hours. Anyway, I will provide the recording as well, you no need to worry that. But I will cover everything, so you will not face an issue while attending the interviews. Even if you don't know about tool right now, I am going to cover in 3 hours from zero to everything, because you already know. That's the reason I can cover on in 3 hours. But for Naveen, it might be a problem. So I need like whatever in 15 days I will explain that. Same thing I will cover in 3 hours.
Bootcamp last time me and you
Yes,
discussed.
yes, Naveen, same like that.
Yeah.
So that it will be helpful for them. But it is not under the curriculum. I just explain the project, but at least they will learn. That's the reason I've just thought to explain that. Almost it was completed. If I show the project, it was over, but I am just planning that. Yeah, what you say, Arshad? The project is enough, or do you want sessions on tools?
We have project two project right now. We have right. Only two we have.
Python, Node.js, Java.
Yes.
And we have set up a Kubernetes cluster. Only one stage we need to add. Then the project will be over. Then your project will be completed.
Okay.
No, if you want a session on tool, we can plan. If not, no issues.
All that we will discuss. No problem.